All right, today we are diving into a brand new piece of legislation from the EU that's honestly going to change the tech we use every single day. It's called the Cyber Resilience Act. So let's break down what this new digital rulebook actually means for our devices and for us.
But let's start with a question for you. How safe do you really think your smart devices are? I'm talking about all those gadgets that are just part of the furniture now, the ones we barely even think about anymore.
You know, like that smart speaker in your living room? It's built to be always on, always listening, and of course, always connected to the web. Or how about the connected toys that your kids might have? I mean, they're amazing. They bring a whole new level of fun, but they also open up a new kind of door into our homes, right? And then, of course, you've got the wearables on our wrists, the things tracking our steps, our heart rate, our sleep patterns, some of our most personal data. And for years, the security on all these things has been, well, kind of an afterthought. Until now. See, here's the secret. For all their amazing convenience, the security of this whole Internet of Things, or IoT, has been a bit like the Wild West. It's been pretty much unregulated, and that leaves all of us a little exposed. And that is exactly what this new law is all about. The Cyber Resilience Act, or the CRA, it has one clear goal: to beef up the security of the Internet of Things by making these products way less vulnerable. In other words, it's finally here to tame that digital Wild West. So, let's get into the nitty-gritty of this new rulebook. How exactly is the EU planning to secure everything from your smart toaster to your fitness tracker? Well, you can think of the CRA as a new set of mandatory digital building codes. For the very first time, any company that wants to sell a product with digital parts in the European Union has to meet a minimum standard for cybersecurity. And what's really crucial here is that this applies to any company, no matter where they are in the world. It's a phenomenon people call the Brussels effect. It's just easier for global companies to adopt one high standard for everything, which basically makes EU rules the default for everyone. But the law is actually pretty smart about it. It's not a one-size-fits-all kind of deal. Instead, products get sorted into different risk categories. So most of your everyday stuff, like smart speakers and toys, they fall into the baseline category, where manufacturers can assess them themselves. But then you have devices we trust with more sensitive data. Think wearables or VPNs. Those are labeled important and have to meet stricter rules. And right at the top, you've got critical products, like smart meters, that face the toughest scrutiny of all, because, well, the potential for harm is just so much higher. Okay, so that's the what of the law. But what about the who? Who is actually responsible for making all of this happen? Well, the pressure is really on the manufacturers. They now have to conduct risk assessments, they have to build security in from the very start of the design process, and this is a huge one. They have to provide security updates for at least 5 years. They also need to be ready to fix vulnerabilities and report any serious security breaches transparently. And when it comes to reporting, the clock starts ticking fast. This number, 24, is absolutely critical. Manufacturers have just 24 hours to give an early warning to the authorities after they find out a vulnerability is being actively exploited. Just 24 hours. That is a massive, massive shift in accountability. But it's not just the people who make the products who are on the hook. The law understands that security is like a chain, right? Every single link matters. So now importers and distributors have a legal duty to check that the products they're selling actually meet these new standards. And if they spot a risk, they have to raise the alarm. Security is now a shared job for the entire supply chain. So what happens if a company decides to just not play by these new rules? Well, the EU has put some serious teeth into this law, and the consequences for ignoring it are steep. First, let's look at the timeline. The law officially gets going in December 2024. Then, those super strict reporting rules kick in by September 2026, and everything else, like security by design, has to be in place by the end of 2027. So yeah, the clock is already ticking. And if companies don't comply, the financial hit is massive. We're talking fines up to 15 million euros, or 2.5% of a company's total worldwide annual turnover, whichever one is higher. This is not a friendly suggestion, it's a law with multi-million-dollar consequences. But the punishment isn't just about the money. national authorities are going to have the power to force a company to recall or even completely pull a non-compliant product from the market. A product could literally get banned from the entire EU. So, with these deadlines getting closer and some really severe penalties on the table, what are the big takeaways for everyone involved here? You know, if there's one message for businesses, it's this: you have to start preparing now. Companies need to be looking at their products and their internal processes immediately, because 2027 isn't the starting line, it's the final deadline. And all of this brings us right back to you. This new rulebook is going to mean safer, more secure devices in our homes and on our wrists, which is great. But it also leaves us with one last really interesting question to chew on. As this new era of digital responsibility kicks off, are the companies that make your favorite products actually ready for the change?